Hello World Wide Web, I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality with the best hair. And there has been a question that I've been asked for quite a while, and I've asked myself for quite a while, like 10 years even. Pretty much as long as it's been a reward on Patreon, that this has kind of been sitting there until about a month ago when there was that huge boost of support on Patreon that I'm still very thankful for. And that goal was hit, that goal that has been there so long. The question of why did I just quit my job to pursue being a YouTuber? And it's been there so long that the question has kind of evolved over the years. It's not as cut and dry as it was when I first posited that question as a special extra video if we hit that milestone. So, with that, let's take a little walk down memory lane, shall we?
Admit, how much did you play that Master System, huh? Thought so. Your ass was on Super Mario Bros. 3, bitch.
Now, it comes to how I was doing, where I was in my life when I decided that I wanted to become a YouTuber as a career path. It was not a happy place. It was not a happy place. Now, if you've been following my stuff for a while and you know how far my life has gone in how many directions, if you've caught certain things I've said in certain reviews, certain things I've said in certain extra videos, just generally, I'm pretty open about it. I don't try and make a huge deal out of it. Like, it's not my entire personality, but it is my history, and if I'm going to be honest about things, it's going to come up.
Problem. Not for you. Unless you really care about me. And in that case, I'm touched. Really, I am.
Yeah, my life has not really been the shiningest example of happiness and joy from early childhood. But that kind of culminated into a lot of different things in a lot of different ways later in life. Even when I finally got out of a lot of bad situations and I finally got to being able to have my own apartment, get my own job, be my own boss of my life at least. Yeah, what's up, Decker? What's up, Decker? And there was still a lot of problems because, you know, I had a lot of health issues from all the stuff. I had a lot of just general financial problems, and financial problems can be big problems in a lot of ways. I couldn't really go to college, didn't have any kind of degree, didn't have anything like that. I had to work in order to live, and the only jobs I could get were like fast food and overnight grocery stock, and I was just happy to not be starving to death anymore, honestly. But I still worried about the future. I still worried about the future a lot. I had this feeling, like I had a feeling for a lot of my childhood, like I wasn't even going to see my mid-20s. It was not a very pleasant time of my life. And when I did see my mid-20s, I was starting to think more about the actual long-term future and what opportunities I had, what kind of things I could do, where I saw myself in 5 years. And I sat down there and I looked at myself at my point in life, and I was there working a job at a grocery store that I had for 5 years after working at another job at a grocery store for 5 years before that. I was making 10 bucks an hour just as I was making 10 bucks an hour 5 years before that. I hated my job just as I hated my job 5 years before that. I was struggling to pay my bills just as I was struggling to pay my bills 5 years before that. I was exactly where I was then as I was 5 years prior. And I saw myself in 5 years in the exact same position. And I didn't want that. I did not want that at all. So, at that time, it was not unheard of for people to make a career out of making videos online or having a website and just generally having a more creative outlet in this new World Wide Web that we find ourselves in. Or, you know, out in the lawn by the lake. But either way, wherever we find ourselves, there are a lot more opportunities now than there were when I was growing up. So I decided that that's what I should probably focus on, because that was something that it didn't matter that I didn't have a college degree. It didn't matter that I was a high school dropout. It didn't matter that I did not have friends in high places. It did not matter that I had no experience in anything that I actually wanted to do. I could still go forth, give it my all, and if people liked it, that would be good enough. I could make it.
Predator special features, jack shit. Original theatrical trailer. Jack shit.
That was a very small chance. I was still an absolute nobody online. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew anything about me. And there were already a lot of established people on the internet. There were all kinds of people like James Rolfe, Doug Walker, like the Spoony one. There were all kinds of long-running web comics. There was just a lot of different people in different parts of the internet doing all kinds of things. Every kind of thing was already kind of being done by people other than me. So the idea of actually being able to go out there, do it, be noticed, and make something of it was an incredibly slim chance. Very small. Like no actual objective way of looking at that and saying, yes, that will work, that will happen, that is what you can do, this is a great plan for your future, why don't you invest everything into making videos online? That really was not something that anyone was saying was a surefire way to make it, was a really good plan for the future.
Chances are by next month I'm going to be out on the street digging Pocky out of the bottom of trash cans, hopefully hunting down some rats to eat.
But at the same time, it wasn't impossible. It was not impossible for me to actually do this. It was extremely low in likelihood, but there was still a little bit there of a chance. And that compared to 5 years from now, I'm going to be doing the exact same job at the exact same place, making the exact same pay for the exact same people, wanting to kill myself the exact same amount every single week. That was not something that was really too much of a, gee, I wonder, let's say red pill, blue pill, which is the option I should take here? It was kind of clear to me what I wanted to do. Whether it was going to work or not, I didn't know. But I knew that I absolutely had to try. And that brings up an interesting little point here, because you hear this a lot. You hear this a lot from people who are looking to start up online. Start up making anything, like on YouTube, on TikTok now, on Instagram, anything, Twitch streamers, anyone out there, anyone trying to become an online entertainer as a career path, as an idea of this is what I'm going to do for a living, this is what I'm going to be using to pay my bills, this is what I'm going to be using to pay for my kids' college tuition. Everything that I want is going to be coming from this online job that I have nowhere, I have not gotten anywhere in yet. I have not done a single thing to actually progress this. I'm just starting, but I want this to be my career. You always hear people, because they get questions like this all the time, like, hey, like I get this question all the time, like, hey, how do I start? What do I do? What do I need to get to start? Because I want to do this as a job. This is what I want to do for a living. And you always hear from the vast majority of content creators out there, the big response is that you can't go into this looking to make money on it. That's not the right way of going about it. That is absolutely not the right way to go about trying to be an internet personality. You can't go into it saying that this is how I'm going to make money. You have to go into it as just kind of a hobby, just a thing you do for fun. And if it happens to make you some money, and that happens to be something that you're able to quit your job over and actually pursue as a career, then that's good. That's the way of going about it. But you can never, ever, ever go into it as the idea of this is going to be your career. And that's exactly what I did. That is exactly what I did. And my opinion on that, you can absolutely do it. It's not necessarily a smart thing to do, but you absolutely can. Now, what I mean by that is, while clearly it did kind of work out for me, it wasn't without its own long list of sacrifices and difficulties, and not just difficulties put on myself, but difficulties put on those that I cared about. One of the main reasons I was even able to pull this off was because when I was thinking like, hey, I could pursue this, this is something I might be able to do, there was a big move going on in my family. They're coming down, moving like miles and miles away from the city that we were at, starting life anew in a new town, and that was going to upend everything, and I was going to come and live with more of the family than I was before. I wasn't necessarily going to have my own place. I was going to be kind of bunking. And that gave me the idea, like, hey, I could put everything into this online thing. I could put my all. I don't have to worry about working anymore. I could just do that. And, well, my adoptive mother wasn't exactly happy with that prospect, but I will always be very thankful to her that she did give me the chance. She told me about how there's millions of film critics out there now, and the chances of actually succeeding are as slim as they've ever been. She didn't necessarily believe in me, but she did, honest to God, give me that chance, and I will be forever in her debt for that. Seriously, I owe her so much in rent. Oh my God, I really am in her debt. But even though I had that opportunity, even though she gave me that opportunity, and I was able to do that because I didn't have a job anymore, I was just putting my all into videos, that was still not easy because making videos does have a lot of expenses associated with it. And like, you know, the equipment, the movies that I'm reviewing, everything, a lot of things cost money. And when you have like next to no income, like I'm making money off of Blip, I'm getting 20 bucks every 2 months, and that's what's gonna have to go towards movies. Well, you wonder why I was reviewing so many Asylum movies at first. I was buying the big packs of like 20 movies in one for $5 because that's what I could afford to work with at the time. That was the origin of reviewing all of these really low budget, just bottom of the barrel bargain bin films. It's because I had no money to afford any other bigger films. I spent all my money. I had some savings, but what savings I did have kind of dwindled down, and the money goes quick when you have no income, and when you're making 20 bucks a month on Blip, or 20 bucks every 2 months, 25 bucks, yeah, it jumped up a lot after Blip kicked me off, and I actually had to monetize on YouTube, and YouTube was finally allowing me to monetize content, and then I was making like $100 a month and $200 a month, and that's like still incredibly low, but for me it was huge at the time. It took so long to actually make money doing this. And so that's like, in my personal advice, you can absolutely go into this looking to make it your career. But don't do what I did. Do not quit your day job. Because the money that pays can help so much. So much. It's a lot easier to afford a camera. It's a lot easier to afford SD cards. It's a lot easier to afford upgrades to your PC or an entirely new PC, just a small thing. Like, you don't need the highest end equipment out there. You don't need to have a subscription to the Adobe Creative Cloud in order to start. All you have to do is do it. Take what you have and do something. That's all you need. Just make something. That's the barrier. Just make it. Don't let things stand in your way. Don't let your desire to make things better than you can stand in your way. Take this video for instance. I want it to be much larger. I want it to be explosive. It's this big special. I want fireworks. I want to have a plane going across the sky. Just kind of spelling out Decker's Shadow, how I quit my job to become a YouTuber so everyone in town can see all 400 of them. But I can't really afford to do that, and this is what we're getting. And we got to make the best of that. We got to make the best of that. And the same goes for starting out. You just got to make the best of what you have. And when you quit your job to do that, you got a lot more time, but you got a lot less resources. And so that kind of brings up the idea of like, well, you did it for money, right? You did it for money. And it took me until 2017 to actually start making as much money as I was working at Kroger. And then the apocalypse happened, and suddenly I wasn't again. So it took me until 2019 again to start making as much money as I was at Kroger. And then Apocalypse 2 happened. Well, then it took me until like 2020 until I was making as much as I was at Kroger. And then the channel started going into freefall. You know, I should stop here, but the point is, thanks to you guys and your support on Patreon especially, I am making at least as much as I was at Kroger. And the money has always been one of the things that is just kind of something that I, like, have to admit is an important part of life. And since YouTube is my job, I need to do that to, you know, make sure my life can continue and I can continue to do this. But as the trials of the last few years have really kicked off and, you know, money has come and money has gone, and I've continued to work at being a YouTuber this whole time, it got me thinking. I did not go into this for the money. I didn't go into this for the money at all. I didn't have any money when I started, and I was really happy just being a YouTuber and making like 20 bucks a month at best. Because the one thing that I did not have was I didn't have that just constant feeling that nothing I did really amounted to anything, that I didn't do anything that I enjoyed, that I didn't do anything that I actually cared about. So the big question of why is it that I quit my job to become a YouTuber? I wanted to be happy. And I am. As tough as YouTube has made things here and there, as much as it can be frustrating with the money, I'm still making videos. I'm still sharing them with the world. I'm still showing it to as many people as I can. I'm still frustrated at YouTube whenever they get in the way and make it so less people see it. But that's the thing, it's less people seeing it that I really am frustrated about. It is like pulling teeth for me to actually put mid-roll ads in the videos. And trust me, I know what pulling teeth is like. I should. Yeah, it's just, like, money has obviously helped. Money has obviously helped in a lot of aspects of my life, and I still need to worry about it. But the thing is, it's because I am back on my own and back to paying all my own things. That's where a lot of the concerns with the money are, because I'm worried, like, if YouTube messes with it anymore, will I have to quit being a YouTuber? And I come to the conclusion that no, I don't, because it never was about the money. If I have to find another job at some point because the money from YouTube gets so bad, then so be it. Hopefully I can get something that I actually enjoy, like maybe be a radio personality, maybe actually get a job in TV, maybe use my 10 years of YouTube as a little bit of a resume to say that I'm comfortable in front of a camera. But while doing that, I'd keep talking about movies on the internet. I'd keep putting my reviews together and I'd keep sharing them out with you. Because it's what I love to do. And you guys have given me that opportunity even more so than my adoptive mother did. So, I just want to thank you all. I want to thank you all so much. I owe my adoptive mother a whole lot of rent, and I owe you arguably even more rent. Okay, this came out wrong. I don't know how to put it. I don't know how to put it. That's another reason why this video took so long. I had to think about what I was going to say, and I still can't really do it. But life is wild. Life has been a roller coaster and a half, and I have a lot of you guys to thank for that. If you hadn't been watching for all these years, I wouldn't be here talking about why I left my old life behind to pursue life as an internet personality. Of course, it also wouldn't happen if you didn't reach the $650 a month goal on Patreon, but, you know, this is that, that's that, whatever. But yeah, thank you all, really. I do mean that from the bottom of my heart, as deeply as possible. Thank you all for watching. I have been Decker Shado. And remember, life is what you decide you can make of it.
Spreadsheet.com.
As I said, this is a quick and dirty review. I don't intend for all the remaining reviews to be quite as quick and dirty. I'm going to be a lot more in depth with them.